Today, we'll talk about not tech, not people, but bringing people along on the journey that you all lead as leaders. For me, this started the first time around 2012 when I was hiring a senior software engineer to work on one of the products that we were building. And she asked, why should I work for this company? And I pitched all the things. I talked about benefits, comp, RSUs, the tech stack that we are on, and why we are so excited about this. She never accepted the offer. So I reached out and said, hey, the, uh, what could we have done different? Because you are someone's seller. You are someone who would need and who can help us scale. And she said, I'm very mission driven. I don't see a strong mission for the company. And which was true because it was an ads company. All we did was we served ads. But that is how internet works, right? That is how most of internet gets paid. So that was a realization for me that helped me understand who I am as well and how can I connect with people better. It was around being mission driven, understanding who you are, and leveraging that to your benefit. So with that, we'll start today's conversation. All right, let me figure out how do I get to the next screen. Okay, so this is me. I'm Rachit, currently working as a CTO of Paylocity. We are an HCM company. I'll talk about that in the next slide. My background at Paylocity, I'm responsible for building tech and product. At Atlassian, I was responsible for running engineering, the platform engineering to help Atlassian scale. Atlassian is the maker of Jira, Confluence, Trello, Bitbucket, Opsgenie, all the dev-focused tools. And the mission there was make developers productive, help them be more effective, more efficient, take the toil away, and make their work delightful. Before that, I ran engineering for Intuit, and the big focus was scale TurboTax. For most of you not in the US, filing taxes in the US is not easy. There are a lot of rules, lots of regulations, lots of loopholes, and that makes it really cumbersome for common people, like myself included, to file taxes. Because all I want to do is take my W-2s, report my earnings, and help government scale. But the amount of paperwork required makes it really cumbersome. So Intuit is solving that problem. Intuit takes that problem head on, has codified all of the rules and regulations, and it helps people file taxes just by click of a button. And that is the mission that I was attached to. Before that, I ran services or engineering for Netflix. The big focus was help Netflix scale. I think when I was there, we were at about 80, 90 million users, and today we have 500 million or something. It's just growing. It's phenomenal. The mission over there was create a delightful experience for people to consume media. Make it easier. Let it be driven by the customers. And before Netflix, I worked at AOL and a few more startups, all focused on ad tech. Where am I today? So I work for Paylocity. We provide employee level services. So we are the employee state of record. We process payroll. It's a SaaS solution for payroll, core HR. We have an ATS or a talent solution, modern workforce solution, and benefits. So these are all the capabilities that we provide, targeted mostly to the US companies, and we are slowly expanding globally. We have ventured into the Canadian market, and we plan to expand and go out to more and more markets. The reason I'm excited about the solution is twofold. One, the growth, the solution, the tech behind it. The second part is the mission. What is that we are building? If you look up Paylocity on Glassdoor, on Blind, or other websites where people provide feedback, we have really high ratings. People love working at Paylocity. The average tenure at Paylocity is like 7.5 years. It's unheard of in technology. People move because they get tired, they get burned out. They want to try something new. The culture that we have built at Paylocity is unique. And I know everyone says that, but as an outsider experiencing the culture for now, or for the first time at Paylocity, I can tell you the biggest difference is they rally around the mission, the goals, the customer focus. As for any HCM company, it's usually around providing services like payroll, just process their payroll, give them the paycheck, make them happy. Or be the employee of record so that when HR want to do changes, they can roll it out and make it happen. You and I, as employees, never benefit from these tools. Before this, I was at Atlassian, and this was during the pandemic. I used to get regular emails and Slack messages from my teams around the struggle that they have on day-to-day basis. How engineers were struggling to align with the outcomes, how managers were struggling to get people rallied towards solutions. There was lack of excitement. And I was feeling the same thing. I was burnt out. It was a lot happening around us. News, media was not helping. It was all disheartening to see people sick, disheartening to see people losing people. And it was not an environment where anyone could work. So during that time at Atlassian, I reached out to the HCM provider and I asked them, how you are a human capital management solution. I'm a human. How are you helping me? I need tools. I need solutions. The answer was, that is not how we approach the problem. We pay payroll. We run your payroll. We pay your taxes. We provide these hiring tools and other benefits tools. That is all what we do. That was disheartening to hear because you're taking the human from the human capital management. It's just management, right? So this is where I reached out to the company, Paylocity, because they were doing something unique. They had a solution called Modern Workforce, which was all focused on, let's build a community at your workplace. Let's build an environment that people can leverage and thrive and do the best work of their life. It was a unique proposition. I did not even know if that would work or not. It sounded really good because I needed that solution. My teams needed that solution. So I reached out, connected. Next thing I know, they were like, we are looking for someone who can lead the charter and is passionate about it. That is how I landed up here. So the big thesis around this and how this is connected to what I'm going to talk about is creating a strong culture is critical. Culture is not about your tech. It's not about the solution. It's about the impact that you want to have on this world. Impact could be making it a secure world by encrypting the data, like Constantine talked about. It could be about providing delightful experiences with the best hardware possible, what AMD and Apple are doing. But we need to be clear about what is the impact that we want to have on this planet, on the people. For Paylocity, it's impacting millions of users and making their work life better, helping them do the best work of their life. Essentially, it's giving that secret sauce that Paylocity has built over time, packaging it up in a software and making it available to everyone, to all our customers. This message resonates really well with a lot of companies. They want to be modern. They want to adopt the modern practices. Most of them, and we serve the small business medium segment, most of them don't have HR experts analyzing the data, figuring out how do we improve the culture of the company, because they cannot afford it. They're looking for a baked solution, a tried and tested solution, a solution that someone is dog fooding themselves. And the numbers speak for them. Ratings for Paylocity, off the charts. Growth is there. High growth environment, people are happy, attrition is under control. Something is going well, something is right. So we want to make sure everyone has access to that data, everyone has access to that solution, where the solution that we're building for everyone. Scale is hard. And I'm very passionate about scaling solutions. So my background, we talked about. So my previous gig was Atlassian, where we were scaling the platform to support all of these disparate solutions like Jira, Confluence, and it's not easy. We were taking big clients and customers like JP Morgan Chase, who had about 80,000 developers on a platform, moving them from on-prem, a data center solution for Jira, onto cloud. The number of tickets, relationships, and how it scaled was billions of records. And the latency expectations were less than like half a second the screen needs to load. That was a difficult challenge. And we did it. TurboTax. Taxes are complex. Every tax file is about 4 or 5 meg with all the rules, all the numbers, all the possible combinations. Millions of people making changes to it at almost a same time. April 15th, that is when the last day to file taxes is, and we would get millions of users filing taxes on that one day. So keeping the systems available, making sure the latency is tolerable, and it's a delightful experience for our customers was a hard problem to solve. So scaling is hard. Same thing at Netflix. We would get a lot of connections and they would stay there forever. How do you serve content? How do you make sure there are no jitters? If there are jitters, how do you change your screen so that the quality goes down, but the movie plays? That way, the customers are delighted by the experience and not impacted by the extraneous factors. Lesson, scaling is hard. And there are pieces that you don't even control, like internet. You could have the best system available, but if there is no internet, there is not much you can do. AOL, serving ads all over the globe. A heavily distributed system. Every system had a brain of its own. So they had to make local optimized decisions to serve the right ads and then talk back to the mothership to make sure frequency capping requirements are met. Geolocation requirements are met. So building such a system at scale was hard. So I am with everyone. Scaling is hard. And I've experienced this firsthand. My favorite story, I've never worked for Google, but I like the company. I like the problem they solve. I like all the tech innovation they have done, the latest one being Kubernetes. Love the approach, love the platform. So I read this article on the New Yorker where, and like everyone else, I am a tech nerd and I follow people like Jeff Dean, David Knuth, Uncle Bob, to make sure I get the benefit of their experience. Smart people. And this is the best way for me to learn from them, right? So I follow them, I read about them, I learn from them. So I read this article on New Yorker, which talked about how Sanjay Kemawat, who is a technical fellow at Google, MIT graduate, has amazing theses on distributed systems, has been with Google forever, one of the smartest people when it comes to distributed system design. Working with Jeff Dean, again, known as the Chuck Norris of computer science, smart guy, the inventor of MapReduce, and laid the foundation for distributed systems. These two troubleshooting a problem. This is March of 2000. And the problem was the search queries were returning either incorrect results or null results. For a search index provider, for a web crawler, that's a big problem. And this was the early days of Google. So they didn't have a lot of resources, but they were hiring the best possible talent they could to scale Google. They spent, and these are the smartest people in the room, right? So they spent 2 or 3 months figuring out that one bug that was bugging them and leading to suboptimal outcomes, sometimes error states. They spent a lot of time, like 3 months of debugging. This is like 3 months worth of war room effort. After doing a lot of discovery, going through the whole code base line by line, and you all know debugging is hard. I hate doing that. It's exciting, but it's exhausting and tiring. Imagine doing that for that long of a window. 2-3 months debugging a solution, going through every line, every possible debugger to understand where it is going wrong. Eventually, they were like, this is crazy. Let's do this. Let's take a binary dump of the expected results and the outcomes that we are seeing, and let's compare and see where it's breaking. When they did the analysis, what they discovered was a few of the machines had a binary flip. That is unusual. Upon investigation, few RAMs on these machines errored out. CRC failed. That led to the wrong results. Imagine troubleshooting a problem for 3 months, and that is the outcome. So upon further investigation, what they discovered was supernova event happening in universe somewhere billions of years ago that leads to high energy particles that interacts with your RAMs that flips these bits, causing an error. Talk about astrology not being a real science. If planets don't like you, they'll find a way to screw with you. This is what happened to them. So, and a cosmic event billions of years ago impacting somebody's code now. And that was exciting. This is what scale is about. You don't know what extraneous factors will impact you. So I'm with you. Scale is hard. But guess what? So we all have experienced scale challenges. We have seen it in different shapes and forms. We know it's a difficult problem to solve. But selling is harder. What are we selling? As leaders, as a tech leader, I don't sell anything. I'm a technologist. I like building things. I like solving problems. There is no sell in that whole equation. But that is true if I'm an individual contributor, working all by myself, no teams involved. And we know that is not true. We know software is a team sport. It's not an individual activity. That is where selling kicks in. It's a team sport. Teams need to be aligned to things. They need to be bought into ideas. They need to believe in something. That is where all of us as tech leaders become salesmen. What are we selling? We're selling that vision. We're selling that mission. We're selling that problem statement so that people would lean in, give in their 100%. It's not about your technical choices. It is not about how you structure your org or how you do planning. It's just those conversations which start and everyone is solving for the same thing. Imagine a company where you have 100 resources, everyone pushing in the same direction. You would crush the market. This is why startups move really fast. And it's difficult for companies like IBM to scale because there is misalignment at every possible level. We have seen this live. We have seen an example happening in front of our eyes. Microsoft struggled for 10, 15 years because there was no alignment. Microsoft was not known for its culture. It wasn't the best place to be. 2014, 2015, something changed. The whole company started to align with bigger objectives. The whole company started to believe in the mission that they never had. And that reflected in the throughput, that reflected in the innovation, in the product, and as you and I can witness, in the stock price. Someone was selling a vision really, really well. And that was no one but Satya. He came out and shared his strategies. What did he do right? And it was not very complex. It was simple things that we as leaders think they're too simple. We got to focus on the harder problems. Selling is harder. Why? Because that is not our comfort zone. We don't do that a lot. And it's a repetitive activity. You have to do it over and over and over and over. It can get tiring. When I was going through this shift, this was 2014, 2015, I got my first exec coach. And if you ever get a chance to get an exec coach, please do. It's an amazing service that helps you understand who you are, helps you get rid of the biases, helps you open up more, helps you understand how to operate in this world, given what you know about yourself. So I had this wonderful opportunity. And before I tell the story, context, I'll justify my answer, and you know that I must have goofed up. So the night before the call with the exec coach, we had an outage, an incident. It took us 4 or 5 hours to recover from it. So it started at like 1 or 2, went on to 4 or 5. By the time it was resolved, I was drained, and my call was at 9 with the exec coach. This was my first call with her. She, very smart, I think was a doctor, and now does exec coaching. The first thing she asked me, what do you believe in? Again, lack of sleep. I did not know how to process that question. I go, I don't believe in aliens, but I think there is life out there. She, she did not know how to react. She was not expecting this answer. And in my head, I'm going deep into that question and sharing what all things that I believe in. And yeah, a minute later, I realized it was not the most smartest thing to tell her, like my beliefs in technology or alien life. But that led to an existential question for me. What do I believe in? Why am I pushing everyone so hard? Why am I pushing myself so hard? After talking to her for like an hour, I realized I have sold an idea to myself, not to my teams. They are convinced for now, but they're not sold on that idea. The difference being, if I sell something to you, it's yours to solve. It's yours to keep. It's yours to evolve. If I convince you of something, it's still mine, but you're aligned with my beliefs, my idea. That is how I operated. It worked in short stints. And as soon as teams would discover more data, they would be unconvinced. I would convince them again. And this was the constant battle that I would go through. Right? Does it work? Yeah, to a certain extent. But is it the most effective way to do it? No. During one of those sessions, she shared this quote with me. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather wood, divide the work, and give orders. This is exactly what I was doing. I was telling them what needs to be done. I never told them about the endless sea. I never painted that picture for anyone. It was in my head. I was dying to get there. But all I was asking for was, let's build a ship. Let's build a ship. Let's build a ship. I read this every week to make sure I don't forget what the big mission is. And this is what gets me excited every day to go to work, talk to my teams, talk to my people, and talk about the big mission that we're on and why we should be excited. This helps not only build a better culture, but also attract the right talent. Get them excited about the end state, not the how or the what or the why. It's if we do it right, this is what the world would look like. This is our impact. This is how we'll make this a better place. So, good, all this talk is good. How do you make it happen? What is that you need to drive for? Before 2014, 2015, or 2015, 2016, I used to read company mission and would never read it again because I saw no value in them. Like just words, put them on a paper. Every company has a mission vision statement, right? You got to do it because you file your documentation with SEC. Maybe SEC requires it. As an employee, as a leader, I don't. I have a clear view of what the solution is. And boy, I was wrong. If you want to bind teams together, this is the glue you need. It's the mission statement. You need to be bought in so that way you can sell it to others, make it their mission. Stand up for something. Get them excited about it. Then there is no alignment. Scale becomes easier because we all lean in and solve it the right way. So, why is mission important? How do you drive that? How should we think about it? So, if you read any of these missions, and then I should have removed the name of the companies, to be Earth's most customer centric company where customers can buy, can find and discover anything they might want to buy online. It's a very clear mission, and you exactly know who the company is. This dictates the culture of that company. This dictates the kind of talent they attract. This sentence dictates how things work over there. If I don't know anything about Amazon, I can look at this and tell you what the culture would be. I can tell you how people would feel over there. And over time, what's the upside? What's the downside? That's the power of the statement. Same thing for Apple. Bringing the best user experience to its customers through its innovative hardware, software, and services. The focus, best user experience. You can see that for all of the Apple products. Google, organize world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. You can tell how that company operates. You can tell the kind of talent they would attract. Facebook, give people the power to share, make the world more open and connected. You can tell everything about the product, about the direction, where they're headed, why they're doing it this way. This is the power of the mission. The interesting thing about all of this is mission was laid before the product was built. Mission was laid or documented before you started to hire people. And then mission becomes a forward or a leading indicator of what the future would look like. This was documented or written down before everything ever started. But this is a powerful statement that shows how you think about the problems, what kind of people you bring on board, what are they excited about, and that is how the product will evolve. So if you want to build a strong product, look at your mission. With that, let's talk about how do we get started? What does it look like? So missions, and this is, if you're less than 10, 15, 20 people, it's not very applicable to you. And the reason being, you attract certain kind of people. For that smaller group, it's through your first level connections, people who you know personally, people who believe in something common. It's just not written down. It's a tacit agreement between individuals. And that is the reason you would see very strong alignment. If the alignment breaks, companies don't go anywhere. And there are multiple examples of that. Co-founders disagree. The mission is not written down. They part ways. Employees don't agree. It goes nowhere. So for smaller companies, it's less applicable, but always good idea to write it down and repeat it to your staff so that you attract the right kind of people. And there are no right or wrong in people. It's just the kind that you need. Everyone needs a different kind. So make sure you write it down that is long lasting, and the thing that you really believe in. If the goal is to make money, put that down. The goal is to grow at 100% ARR. You'll attract that kind of people who are very motivated, get things done, and will shoot for that target. So be deliberate about what you put down as your mission, a long-term mission, a statement that will help you attract talent, a statement that will guide you on where you're going, and then that will help you shape up your North Star. North Star is, if the world will follow your mission, what things will change? What metrics? What would success look like? And that will dictate what is your strategy to get there. If it's 100% growth, what are the top 4 things that you think will move the needle? And then spar on those, debate on those, and make sure everyone is aligned. And that will dictate your goals, organization goals, people goals, individual goals. That way you drive alignment end to end. All of this does not require you to know tech. All of this had nothing to do with my people skills or operational skills. It was just about understanding who I am, what do I believe in, and do I align with the overall objective? And this need not be at the company level. It is at the team level. Declare the mission for your teams. Tell them this is what we believe in. And they will delight you with the kind of work and solutions that come out of those teams. I've practiced this multiple times. I think that was my last slide. I've practiced this multiple times. The results were usually great. It has backfired as well when I was not very clear about the mission. A small example, and this would be a technical example. This was 2016, 2017, when cloud was hot and people were moving out of a data center onto cloud. In one of the settings, I said, moving to cloud is the mission. And that backfired backfired bad. Why? Because the mission was not cloud. The mission was modernization of our stack. We had problems with tech debt, with slower delivery, with speed. Moving to cloud did not help with any of those. It made the systems even brittle, because now we had stateless systems running on EC2s with ephemeral storage. The system's out, your service is down, you lost data. So this is where mission requires a lot more thought process, a lot more thinking, because these are the things that you believe the world would look like when things are done right. And that's all what I have for you today. I'm going to stop my share. All right.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful, and I think a great way to end today. I really, really love what you're saying about what do I believe in? What is this for? What is the mission, right? And that is that North Star that needs to follow it, because at the end of the day, as idealistic and sort of Pollyanna-ish as it sounds, these companies that we're creating are there to serve the world. They're there to make the world better. It doesn't mean that they're out there, you know, to fix the world at a really big way, but in a really specific way. And so what is it that your company is doing that doesn't exist, that's going to make the world better for the people that you serve? And so I really, really love that. It's something that I'm really passionate about, and I really, the other thing I want to go down the rabbit hole with you just a tiny bit here, because something that I discovered when I founded my own company was that the things that were unresolved in myself and my own psychology, and the things that I didn't have mastered. I was not good at boundaries, for example. I always said yes to everything. Some of those things I had to quickly fix, because as I scaled, they got magnified, right? Did you have any examples of where, you needed to get right with yourself? I know that sounds really, really, a little bit West Coast spirituality, but like, were there places where you had to do that to make sure that as you got bigger, you didn't amplify the things about your own self that needed to be addressed first?
Yep, that is a really good question. So this was the same conversation in 2012 when I couldn't hire someone. It gave me time to introspect, like something is wrong, something went off wrong here, right? And what I realized about myself was I grew up as an engineer. I studied computer science and math. I did masters in computer science and math. I almost did my PhD in computer science. I was always a tech at heart. That is what I loved. When it came to solutioning, I loved building solutions. I did not care about mission. I did not care about people. I was focused on building cooler tech capabilities. And when I started to lead the teams, it got magnified because I was obsessed with the solution. I was obsessed about getting the solution right. I forgot what the problem statement was. As a business stakeholder, I would come to you and say, April, what do you need? Oh, you need a website. Sweet. You know what? Let's build amazing website. It might not even serve you. And now that I was leading teams, it got amplified because everyone was obsessing over our code coverage, code base, and how cool the thing is. It uses microservices, eventing. But are you solving the right problem? Oh, we don't care about that part. But the tech is really cool. This is cutting edge. So I was not helping my own teams. I was pushing them down the wrong path. So it took me a while to realize, why is that happening? Why is there a disconnect between the two? It was me. Because I never set those pieces for the team. I never told them, these are the goals. This is what we're solving for. You go do it.
Yeah.
I was in every conversation with expectation settings to requirements to decomposition and then solutioning. I loved solutioning. So I would jump directly to that, skip all the steps.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. That's it's really, really insightful, really helpful. Just a reminder, if you guys have questions for Rachit, please put them in the chat and I will make sure to relay them to him. Yeah, I really love it. I think that it's a really good reminder, because the other thing that can happen, right, is that, and I would love to hear if you've had an example or an experience with this as well, but you're solving for a problem and you've got your head so focused in it that you don't realize that the problem has evolved due to market factors, external factors, things like that. Has that ever happened to you where, okay, we were solving this for this solution and this is the thing we're providing, and then whoops, everything shifted and it's a new problem that you need to solve for?
Yeah. And this is very common with scale, right? You solve for today, but you don't have a clear outlook of the future. And this was very common at Netflix. So the thing that was well known was your solution that is working today will not be applicable 3 years from now. So design with that frame of mind. Like it needs to work for 3 years, needs to go up to 3x scale. And why did we come to that conclusion? Is because teams would start building a solution. Either they'll be so focused on today that by the time this is launched, it's a dated solution. It won't work. Or they would spend so much time in building that perfect solution that it would never be launched. So how do you create those boundaries and be like, this is the problem that we're solving? Keep your eyes on these metrics and make sure once you release it, it's applicable for 3+ years. And that was a common thing, right? You would solve something, by the time you go to the market, the problem does not exist. Someone else solved it really well. So keeping an eye out, and this is what needs to be aligned with the mission, right? If everyone on the team understands what we're doing, not the how. So that way everyone can look out for us as leaders and go, okay, it's a shifting. How does that change the how? How does that change the implementation?
Right. And as long as they're all focused on the same mission, then it's not such a case of whiplash when you explain, okay, now we need to pivot and do something different, because they're still following the mission rather than feeling like you're, you know, just changing on a whim and giving the new
That's yeah,
instruction for no reason, right? And then that nobody wants to follow a leader they think is just changing their mind every 2 seconds.
yep, yeah, and that is a really good point. So I have been a beneficiary of this. I had the fortune of working for leaders who were very deliberate about ensuring mission is well established. So even when they changed their minds, I was able to follow with ease. And it just made sense. That led me to appreciate them even more. And I was able
Mm.
to lean in harder into that solution or the pivot versus checking out and going, April, you keep changing your mind as my leader.
Yeah.
Right. So, so yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really key. I mean, especially when you really need those people, and we've made this point now with multiple speakers, but you need that team that's going to believe in the mission, that's going to drive the whole vision forward. And if you're holding the vision of the mission in your head, and the reason for being in your head, and you don't share it, then they can't engage with it, right? Their hearts can't get into it, their head can't get into it, and then it doesn't give you the same momentum that you have if you have other people that see the same north star
Mhm.
and believe in it, and then they're going to pull with all of their weight and all of their might. And the other thing that I've even discovered is that sometimes they even, because they understand the mission, can help expand on it in a way that I wouldn't have, right? Because they're the ones that are bringing their own creativity and their own problem solving and
Yeah.
solutions to it. And so when you give them that, then suddenly the whole thing can expand out and kind of blossom, and it you have that everyone pulling in the same direction instead of just a
Yeah.
bunch of ants, or worker bees that are doing as they're told.
Yeah. That is the other thing that we miss out. It's that solutioning is not a zero sum game. But all throughout education life, we are told it's a zero sum game. There will be
Mhm.
just one person who will get higher score in that class. If I don't get it, I'm the second or third or fourth. But in real life, that is not how it works. It's a team sport, it's a team activity. And good solutions might not come from me, it might come from you. But as long as we're a team, we solve it together, we win together. It
Right.
takes a
Yeah.
while for us to realize that it's not about who is proposing that. It's about, as a team, do we all agree, believe in, and double down on those pieces? So that, yeah, that's a really good point.
Very good. Well, I'm going to ask you the same final question I keep asking, which is, do you have any other? I mean, you've already imparted a lot of this, but are any final, three pieces of advice or lessons that you've learned the hard way that you can share with everyone so they don't have to take the hard route?
Divorce yourself of problems, focus on the outcomes. As leaders, it's very easy for us to focus on the problem statement or the solution of it. That is not healthy for the teams. The second one that I learned, so I grew up as an engineer, so I knew I was always deep in tech. Helping the team was my passion. What I did not realize was there is a soft balance between micromanagement and helping the team. In my head, I was helping the teams, but I was being very clear about I want it to be A, B, C, and D. In my head, I'm helping teams by giving them all what I've learned. Like, this is what I've seen work in the past. Stepping back helped. Asking the teams, this is the problem statement, and then focusing on the problem statement helped. Letting them come up with a solution. If they fail, and you help them recover. But that way, everyone learns, and you learn in the process because there are processes of things that you might not have tried. Third thing, trust. Trust them. It's all a beautiful game.